everybody, it is Kathy, and I love to be selling. How are you? It's so good to see everybody. Come on in. Sorry that I'm a little bit late. I got sidetracked looking something up, and it took me a little bit of thought. So anyway, come on in, come on in, come on in. It's good to see everybody, and I'm going to do a quick tech check just to make sure you can hear me. So let me know that you can hear me. Tell me how your weather is. Very, very warm in New York City today, but nice. I'm in a nice air-conditioned space now, so I'm good. So let me just see because something very interesting happened to me when I was listing recently, and I want to share it with you in case you run into it, because I don't want you to freak out. I did a little bit when it happened. So let me just see how everybody is. Good, good, good. See if everybody can hear me. Good. Hi, Dorinda. How are you? Good to see you. Got Judy. How are you? Joe. Good to see you, Joe. How are you? Good. So now I know everybody's here. So I'll just keep an eye on this. Everybody comes in. Hi, Joan. How are you? Alabama. Gosh, I bet it is really nice there. So yay, yay, yay. Thanks so much for being with me. So good, good, good. And let me just see. Here we are. Okay, great. How are you? We got Josh. Hey, Josh, how are you? And Joe and Judy and PJ. Hey, PJ. So it's hot in Ohio too. I bet they put this up so I'm not like staring down the whole time. Hey, Carla. Good to see you. So anyway, yes, and Joe has great YouTube videos, Joe DeMarco. So yay, yay, yay. I've got my my exercise top here. I was at the gym. So now I've got my shirt on. So let me just tuck this in a little bit. There we go. Good to see everybody. How are you? So for those of you who don't know, I have a wonderful grandson, and we get to babysit him usually about once a week, and it's oodles and oodles and oodles of fun. And I always learn playing with him and watching him, because he's at a phase where he's like discovering everything, which is a lot of fun. And we play hide and seek. And what he loves is those plastic Easter eggs that you get that you can take apart and you can put little toys and things in. He loves them. And it's not about the toy that's inside. He just likes to find the eggs. So at Easter time, I always grab an extra bag of them to keep in the house, because it's his favorite thing, is to play. It's like a treasure hunt. Hide and seek's the wrong thing. Hide and seek is when we hide ourselves. So hiding, Easter egg hunt, and hiding it around our apartment. And then he gets to discover them. And then what he likes to do is, after he finds them, then he likes to hide them, and we have to find them. So if you've played anything like this with kids, you know, where it's almost like a scavenger hunt and they're finding things. So we'll hide it around the apartment. We try, you know, make it a little challenging, but not too hard, so that it's impossible for him to find. But sometimes he really has a hard time finding them. So you know this as you go, okay, Jackson, you know, you're hot, cold, hot, you know, sort of giving him hints where the item is so that he can find it. And then he finally finds it, he gets all excited, you know, and then we keep count to make sure he finds all the eggs. Otherwise, we have to go and remember where we put them all. But it's so much fun. But there's times when he cannot find the egg, and it might even be in plain sight, like it's right there. It's just he's looking over, or he's looking to the left or to the right, and he doesn't see it. And it made me think of eBay search. So oftentimes, this actually happened with a client, and she was really flustered because she had a great listing up. It was a great item, an in-demand item, and she had put it in auction because she figured it would get bid up, and it was not getting any views. So she called me. She's like, Kathy, you got to come take a look at this. So, you know, we got together and I pulled it up and I took a look at it, and we're taking it apart. We're like shredding this listing and figuring out, you know, why are we not getting views on this listing? And we're taking it apart and taking it apart and taking it apart and taking it apart. And she was missing a really important keyword. We figured out what that keyword was by looking at a lot of solds. Is what we did. So we're looking at the solds that were in the category and going, okay, now why did these sell and this one's not getting any traction? And again, as far as views go, you can get very few views on an item. I've had this happen, 4 views, 5 views, and it sells. Because it's not always about how many people look at it, it's getting the right person to look at it. But keywords or the item specifics eBay staff calls it aspects, by the way, ASPECTS, aspects. So you can have the correct aspect. This is particularly true for collectibles, where you may not have thousands of shoppers for the item, but you only need that one that's going to want that very unique collectible item that you're selling that's hard to find, that's more unique. Anyway, this was not a unique item. This was a more common item. So we're looking, and realized she was missing a really basic keyword for the item. So revised it, put the keyword in. I said, okay, put the keyword in, let it go for 24 hours, because you got to give it a little traction to see if you're going to get the views. And if not, then you go back and take a look at it again and see, gosh, that's not working. So, what else can I do? Sure enough, like that, the views went right up because the item was great. Her pictures were great. She had the brand name, but it was a common brand. So that means there's a lot of them. It would be like something like an Apple. There's Apple watches, there's Apple computers, there's Apple iPods, there's a lot of Apple stuff. So you can have a good brand, but if it's a broad brand, Nike, Under Armour, you can think of a ton of them, Kate Spade, really in any category, there's a ton, then it's hard because, there's a couple thousand of them. So that one keyword popped her impressions up like that. And that's what you got to look at. It reminded me with Jackson, where you can be looking at it, but you're overlooking it. And one keyword can make a difference. And I'll give you an example. And this happened to me. It's actually happened to me a couple of times. I was listing an item, and you say you're listing, and you're getting ready to confirm it. And I clicked to confirm the listing. I had done the title, I had my keywords, I did my description, I had my pictures, everything. I'm getting ready to confirm it. And I get it won't list. I'm like, what on earth is going on? It's like, is it my computer? What's going on? So eBay blocked. I couldn't list it. And I get this warning comes across the top of my computer. I list on a computer. I don't list on, with a phone. And saying, you take a look at this listing. You could be, I'm paraphrasing, I should have screenshotted it. You could be infraction of, eBay listing policies because a word you're using, I'm trying to remember exactly how they said it, a word you're using or words you're using are conflicting with your listing. And I'm going, what on earth are they talking about? It was really sort of gobbledygook language. So I'm going, what is it? The item was a New Orleans item, okay, from the city of New Orleans. It was a collectible. The condition of the item was used. I got caught in a bot because what the bot was reading was the word, because it was in my title. It wasn't in my item specifics. It was in my description. So title and in my description, the word New Orleans, because it was New Orleans item. But the condition was used. So what it thought was I was listing a new item with the wrong condition. And it was correcting me. It was stopping. It literally would not let me finish. It was correcting me, saying, don't you want to fix the condition? Because I'm looking at it and I'm going, okay, what in this listing is making eBay crazy? And that's what it was. And that's what I'm bringing up. So I'm thinking of words like New London, New Britain, anything that would have the word new in it. And I'm wondering if the word old, like Old Sayville, there's old too, and if it was a new listing, if it would do the same thing. So if you're listing and you get a warning saying, double check your listing before you list it, there could be something wrong with the listing, that could be it. So take a look at whatever words are in your title, and you could have made a mistake. You could have something that is brand new, and because you're using sell similar or you're tired or whatever, somehow you've clicked it and somehow the drop downs don't work all the time, that you've listed it as used when it should be new. But that's what triggered it for me. And it's happened a couple times, because a couple times I've listed New Orleans items and they're used because they're collectible. eBay, the bot will catch me. And what it is it's pulling off the keyword. And that's why I'm bringing this up, which is that's how important keywords are. And that's how in tune eBay search, because this is the eBay bots, the eBay algorithms that are looking at our listings as we're creating them. And they are looking at the language. They're looking at your pictures. You have what's called artificial intelligence, which is scanning your pictures. But there are bots that are looking at your language. And that's why keywords, which are also item specifics, and again, eBay at times will call them aspects. They're all the same thing, but your keywords, the words that you use in your title, in your item specifics, and your description are so important. Like the client that I was working with, because they were missing a very important keyword. What happens is, just like my grandson looking for the egg and not seeing it, eBay search is looking, and they're not realizing that that listing is what it is. Because it's not a person. It's not Kathy. I'm looking to see. It's not Kathy or Joe or let's see who else we got. Hi, Cheryl. How are you? Or Cheryl or Brenda. It's, we're not sitting there looking at the listings going, oh, Cheryl's listing a pen. Oh, Joe's listing a hubcap. It's not. It's all machine driven. It's a bot. It's artificial intelligence. It's eBay algorithms. From the words that we're using, it's indexing our listings so it knows where to put it in search. And if I am not making the best selections for my listing, or if I'm dropping out a really important keyword, or for me with New Orleans, I am using the right keyword and I am choosing the right condition. And I just had to reconfirm it. It was like, no, it is used. It is New Orleans. I click confirm and everything was fine. It was just, I triggered that warning from eBay, which scared me. I was like, oh my gosh, what did I do? Saying, do. And I was like, look. I'm like, oh no, it's fine. Click. And it was fine. So I wanted to give you a heads up on that in case you run into it. And also to remind you, this is why sometimes, when I'm working with private clients and I'm helping my seller friends and I look at their listings, and that's the problem. eBay search now and the eBay algorithms now are not what they were even 6 months or a year ago, let alone several years ago. For sellers that were used to selling, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, 10 years ago, and they'll come back onto eBay. Maybe they took a break and they'll go, oh, and they'll start doing what they were doing 7 or 8 years ago. And then they go, oh, eBay this, oh, eBay that. And it is, but what's happened is the platform has changed. The way eBay search looks at items and indexes items has changed. And it will continue to change. And it is data driven. It is all about data. It is all about your keywords. The keywords are what is fueling eBay's algorithms. They actually talked about that recently at a developers conference. Okay. So your keywords will make or break your listings. And one keyword can make such a difference. Okay. So